don't tell us everything, because I know God would have told me a lot of stuff that I was going to have to go through as I was entering into ministry and doing some of the things that he called me to do. I probably would have quit. So he reveals to me a little bit at a time. And now I can handle some of the storms and the trials and the tribulations of life just a little bit better, because I've had a little bit experience now. See, 5 years ago, y'all might have fought over some stuff, but now since you had some experiences with God, you can handle some stuff just a little bit better. We want to talk about sailing on uncertain waters, because I found out that life is just like the sailing of a ship. Ministry can be like the sailing of a ship. Whatever we go through in life can be allegorized or typified by the sailing of a ship. Even in the secular world, they use the sailing of a ship as an example of something that is going on in life. Y'all remember the Commodores? They sung that song, Sail On. And some of you young folks don't remember this guy, but that was a guy by the name of Otis Dredd. Anybody older than you, if anybody know that song, it'll tell how old you are. But Otis Dredd came out with a song called Sitting on the... Y'all remember that one? Now, Sister Hines, don't y'all sit around here and act like y'all been saved all your life. Y'all remember the song? Sitting in the morning sun, I'll be sitting till the evening comes, watching the ships roll in, and I'll watch them roll away again. I wish my voice would help. I just wish my voice would help. I'd sing that. Some of y'all done got so saved, y'all don't want nobody to know that you like anything. And some of y'all said, well, I used to like that when I was a sinner. Can I tell y'all something? I liked it when I was a sinner, and I like it now. I still like it. You make folks think being saved mean you can't do nothing. Now I admit, some of this stuff these young folks listen to ain't worth listening to. But there's nothing wrong with a good love song. Now I know some of y'all, look at all these babies and children around here. You didn't get them in here by listening to Amazing Grace. Now you had some Teddy Pendergrass. Very white. But what I want you to understand is that we use, even in our secular music, the sailing of a ship as an allegory, or to typify, or to be a blueprint or an example of life. We even do it in church. We sing songs like Old Ship of Zion has landed many a thousand. We sing, when we're in trouble, we sing like a ship, tossed and dribbled, battered by an angry sea. And I want you to understand that a ship is a good example, because even in Scripture, Paul writes in 2 Timothy chapter 4 verse 6, the time of my departure is at hand. And what Paul is illustrating to us, see, back in those days they didn't have airplanes and cars and all that. They either traveled by horse or they traveled by ship. And what Paul is picturing to you is that his life is that he is ready to pull up anchor on this side of eternity and travel across the sea of eternity into heaven. And if you look at Hebrew chapter 6 verse 19, you'll find that Paul oftentimes uses things that have to do with a ship in order to illustrate the storms, the trials, and the things that we go through in life. And he gives us some security and some assurance that as we sail through the trials and tribulations of life,
my God,
we have an assurance, because look what he says. He says that we have an anchor. He talks about an anchor of the soul. How do we know that after we go through all of this life of trials and tribulation and serving and working, that we have a guarantee? See, a sister got a plaque a while ago, but I know she want more than that.
Yes, sir.
We need more than a plaque. I want to guarantee that when I get through being lied on, talked about, mistreated, and all of this stuff that we go through in life, I want to guarantee that when I get over to the other side, I'll hear him say, "Sir, well done." He said, you got to guarantee that you're going to make it because you got an anchor. He said, because the anchor is already sure and steadfast in heaven. How do I know I'm going to make it to heaven? Because Jesus is already there. And he's the anchor to my soul. That when storms and trials and tribulation come, I got an anchor. Somebody said, my soul is anchored in the Lord. The sailing of a ship. Jesus in our text gives us a picture of our life, my life and your life, as we travel through the uncertain waters. And you know, life is so uncertain. James talks about these uncertain things that we go through. He said that these storms, these trials, they come up all of a sudden. They suddenly come up, and they certainly come up, because he don't say if you go through. He said when. When means they are coming. And they are diverse. They're in all kinds of forms. The person sitting next to you may not be going through what you're going through. But everybody in here probably testify that I'm going through something. Jesus has just finished preaching, and he was preaching so that man could preach. I wish I had had the voice and the ability, and I know that if he helps me, I can do it. And I'll never make it to where he is, but I want to be just like him, because he had such an ability to preach that people were astonished at the authority and the power that was in his preaching. He didn't preach like some of the other folks preach. These folks who ain't got no authority, no power in their message. He wasn't a well that didn't have no water in it. He wasn't no wind with thunder and lightning and no rain. He had some authority in his preaching. He had so much power that folks would come even in a desert. They would gather in the desert, and nobody bring a lunch. Nobody thought about provisions or eating. All they wanted was to hear his word. And when they got out there was no lunch, and he feeds the 5,000. And after the 5,000 was fed, they wanted to make Jesus king. They wanted to raise you. And that's the way some folks are. Some people, if you making fish sandwiches, and what they didn't understand, Jesus feeding them and giving them the bread and all of the blessings that he bestowed upon them was not his purpose at this time. He's gonna be king, but he got to go the way of the cross. And there was some trials and some tribulations that he was gonna have to suffer in order to get the glory that was coming after the cross. So he wanted to teach his disciples something about going through certain things